Did anybody else eat cereal this morning? I may or may not be eating cereal. Morning, everybody. What do we have? 9. Okay, that's probably most of us. Okay, cool. I think Ishween should be ready for us here in a moment. Yeah, let me see. Hey, Ishween, are you, how are you feeling, get started here shortly?
Yeah, I can start.
Okay. I also forgot, until right now, that I have been reviewing our projects, but we could do that later, or we don't have to do it at all. It doesn't really matter, I suppose. Maybe I'll have it at the end of class. Like if we finish early enough, I could throw them on. So, this might be, whose is this? Cat? How do we, give me a second here. Return to meeting. Huh. I can't get back to, oh, here, maybe. cat. I just muted your mic because there's just a bunch of background noise. Um, okay, yeah. I guess you could take it away. I don't have any other big announcements right now. So, I mean, just in general, though, I hope most everybody got that email last night and was able to prep a couple of things from the email. So, if you have not done that, um, you know, I guess that could be helpful to do right now, real quick. Um, but yeah, otherwise, Ishween's going to give us a nice little overview of what she's been working on in parallel with the class. So yeah, I think whenever you're ready, Ishween, you could take it away. You could take the screen and whatever.
Okay. Is my screen visible?
Say again.
Is my screen available for the presentation?
Yep. Yeah, I can
Okay.
see. It's not like full screen right now, but yep, it's up.
Okay. So, hello everyone. So basically, this will be the main outline for my presentation today. So, starting from intro about me. So, I'm a grad student from interdisciplinary program in film and media study, and I have done my bachelor's in computer science engineering. So, the reason behind my shifting from engineering to arts was because of I always wanted to implement my creative ideas. And I thought of with this growing technological world, what else can be better to implement my creative thoughts as a combination of technology. So even in my first semester, also I have taken the course from the game designing program, and it involved me to learn from the software of Twine, which involved us to implement our creative skills along with the HTML and CSS and little bit of JavaScript coding. So it's not of much of coding also, and I have to I can do my artwork also in that. So why animation? Because talking about creativity, what better way will there be to showcase my creativity than to reflect it in my animation? So I have opted for this course. And while going through this course, I further dig a little deep in the field and explored some different types of animation, what all kind of pros and cons are there, what kind of animations I can do, and what is feasible for everyone and not. So since I was new to this area, I thought of first starting exploring from this software only, which we are performing for our tasks. So I get to know about this platform types, different platform types, their features, and what all why should we choose that platform type for the particular task. So these were the different types of animations which I came across. Yeah, I can do this one is the pro. For now, we are doing the traditional 2D animation. There's a 3D animation also, stop motion animation, and everything. And if we talk about the platform types, there are two platform types in Adobe Animate CC. There is one is the ActionScript 3.0 versus the other is the HTML5. So both of these platform types determine where the animations will run, what features will we have access to in the Adobe Animate interface, and which scripting language basically we will use. Well, either it's the ActionScript or it's the JavaScript. So if you open a document in HTML5, at first you won't be able to find differences in that because they're almost identical from the front facing. They even both get saved with the .fla extension. But if you go, if everyone can just start opening their Adobe Animate CC and just parallelly check the HTML5 document, then you'll see that if you go from file to publish settings for each one of them, then you will notice that for ActionScript we always export SWF file. But on the other hand, for the HTML5, it lets you publish your file to web by exporting files in JavaScript and in HTML. You just perform an practical also, and we'll see that we'll be able to export it HTML and JavaScript file. Now the question is that which platform is better for us? Answer lies in the fact that if you need your animations to run in browser and support interactivity, then definitely HTML5 canvas is better. But as it supports the HTML file, JavaScript file, and image files that can be incorporated into websites. Also, although the ActionScript has more features than HTML5 canvas with more filters, blend mode, synchronizing audio, and etc. But HTML5 supports the banner advertisements that let you click on them to go to a website so they involve interactivity and they'll run natively in browser. The other applications for that will be like if you are designing a game that involves lots of interactivity and you want to run it in a browser without a plugin, then obviously we have to choose the HTML5 canvas. For quizzes like quizzes, interactive maps, and image galleries, like all of them are capable of running natively in browser and have some level of interactivity at some step. So, like at the end for this comparison, my takeaway is that the action script is used if you want cutting edge features of Animate CC, so that you can make awesome videos and GIFs so that they're easy to share. But instead of HTML5 canvas, if you want to create interactive animations, games, and apps that need to play natively in web browser, then we have to prefer HTML5. And after all those like research and the comparison between them, now even I'm planning to design my own website from scratch using the HTML and CSS coding along with the animations involved from HTML5, for which a sample which we'll be performing today. Now the question arises like, can we convert the action script into HTML5? The first thing is that yes, we can convert the action script into HTML5 by doing it in two ways. Either we can copy our all the layers from our action script document and paste it in our HTML5 document. The other way is to like do go and when we go to the HTML5 document, we can go to file and then we can go to convert to HTML5 and then the check publish settings and then publish it. But there's a note to these both methods. We both these methods require some code editing in the HTML5 canvas section because otherwise the audio and video will not work in sync. And I have shared the document with the link also in the Google Drive on our class folder. That's so that you can go in depth with that video and just get to know like how can we convert it. Today we are going to like start it from scratch. Like if we are going to design an HTML5 document from scratch. So if uh, everybody can just start using their Adobe Animate program. For reference also, if you are going to the Google Drive option, then you can just download the template folder for the reference.
On the Google Drive.
Yeah, the class Google Drive.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah. Just that HTML5 info folder on our page there.
There's a folder with the template too.
Yep.
Name. If once everyone is done, we can message and I'll start with the demo for that.
Should we open one of the templates then?
Yeah, the Adobe Animate file that says HTML5 animation, like the FLA file.
Mm-hmm. bummer. I was gonna suggest the ability to have both screens up at the same time, but in full screen, doesn't look like Animate offers the split screen with WebEx. So yeah, one thing you guys might want to do is just collapse your. This might be tricky, but you could collapse your participants and your chat window, which would make a larger video window, and then you could just do your best to have both Animate and the chat window open at the same time on your screen. Seems like it's a little tricky, but we're gonna get by. Okay, cool.
Should I start with the demo part? Yes,
I think so. I mean, I'm ready.
Okay, so like in this document, I have just simply designed one layer, which is the circle. I just drawn a simple circle and I made it into a symbol with the movie clip part. And then on the second layer, I have made this rectangular button type shape, and I have made it also into a movie clip and converted into a symbol. And then same goes for this hide button. So basically what we are trying to do here is, like, if I press the hide button, this circle will disappear, and if I press the show button, this circle will appear. This is a simple animation we have to do, and for that we have to do like when we make just a separate layer with the name of actions, and then actions layer, when you go to window and actions, so you can see like there's a little bit of coding involved in this. So it basically is like that when you just comes with like this, and when you open this code snippet and this under HTML5 canvas option under actions,
And this is under a window. We have to go to window and then actions, right?
Yes, the window, then actions.
Yep. Okay.
And then you have this window, and you can just open it like the code snippets from here. So it involves us to like perform some functions like these. So I choose like click to hide an object. First you have to just select your object in order to like do the coding part. So this kind of function will appear. So I've already done it. So it's like this function involves this, like this function. There's a hide key.
I'm new to this as well. So when we go to the snippets and we have that option, do I just double click it, or I think I'm missing a step there?
Yes, just double clicking it will appear the function.
Okay. And then how did you get to that next part? Like,
you can just like the function will appear here.
yep.
And then I have added this show function here. Like that's the like double clicking and adding 2 times that function only. So it's like we have to just add our like if we go to our hide layer, and then I have added an instance name here under the symbol option. So we have to like the instance name we have to add it, and then this automatically functions come there, and then it says that click and hide me is the function name I have designed by my own. Just like load it randomly. You can choose the default function also, or you can just edit your function also. And this allows you to like create a function like this, which says that this the pinball is the name for my pink circle, is visible, and that's visibility is off. So like if I press my hide button, then the visibility of this circle is false. So basically this function is like deleting it. And then when this show function appears, so it's like when I press the show button, then this pink circle, this visibility, it's true. So it's just a simple like, just we have to like go to code snippets and just double click here. This is the main part, like we have to select the object and then we have to do it, otherwise it won't allow us. So this kind of function like appears there. So you have to change your instance name here. If this instance name appears like for the same option when which object you are selecting, and then you have to like, you can choose this function to go with, or you can just rename it, and just you have to be careful that the function name here appears the same, like the function name here appears the same name as here, and it's case sensitive also. Rest
I
the definition appears it by itself.
I I mean, this should be everybody, I guess, if they're not if they might have missed something. Um, I'm not sure. So, is this already laid out for us, or are you walking us through building it?
Look, so like if this is already built up for us, like
Okay.
if I select this option and I then choose this, so it's like this code automatically appears for us.
Hmm.
We just like we just I just edited this function's name. That's it, with the show me function name, and then I've like changed the name here also. I just changed this function's name. That's it. Everything appears it by itself. And we have to like once do it for the show function, and once we have to do it for the uh, hide function. And for show function, it's just that you can change this false to true, this visibility part.
So we have to go through these two things then, right?
Yes.
Okay. So okay. And the one thing that you may have said, but I think it might have went a little fast, is do you want to just briefly cover like the naming of the instances?
Oh, yeah, I can just.
Because you mentioned the reference names, but I'm not sure if you went over because you already had them made, is all.
Yeah. So it's like when you like go to that particular layer for that object, so the circle object, we go to object part. There's then like when we design a symbol per type, then there's an option here which says that instance name. And then instance name, this has to be particularly different for every object. So for like for circle, I have written this pinball because this is the reference we will be giving in our code so that the function will be performed. Similarly, if we choose this one and I have like edited an instance name like hide into it, and it has show to it. So whatever object will be there, we have to like add in a code. Then that object has to have its instance name differently. So if I like control and test it, like if everybody can like just go to the control option and just test it, it will open by default in our web browser, and we can see that is in if I press hide option, the circle disappears, and if I press show option, the circle appears.
Test. Okay. So yeah, it works because you already built it out.
Yes, that's like the template I've provided for the class example.
Right. Okay. Well, because when you opened it, I was a little confused, thinking we were just to follow along with you, and then I was like, oh wait, is something already here? So now it's making sense that you're just showing us where the things were.
Yeah, just like the step by step, so that when everybody is making their own projects, they know like which option to choose and which code to edit.
Right. So then, um, so once we go back into the actions window, um, we can click on whichever elements and see the different actions for them, or
Yes, like I have added another file for the like with the name of template one. It has another animation file to it. Okay.
oh, okay, yeah. So we can open up the
Like
simple
it
animation
involves different types of actions to it.
window actions.
So it's like in first frame for that, there's a button involved and there's a event involved in that, the button click option. And this click animation function will like just like play this animation. And this at 48th frame I have added a keyframe and I've added a different code to it. That's that like the animation stops here by itself. I don't have to press anything. And then at 96th frame, that's the last frame, and we can just go and replay any animation because it automatically works in the loop motion. So like once the animation is over, it just loops back to its first position only. But like I can just show you guys. Can you see my testing screen?
Yes.
Like the web
Yep.
browser? Yeah, so like when I open it, press the click me button, it starts and it stops here. The first animation part is done here. Then the second animation part is just this one.
Actually, we only see animate still. I'm sorry. I think the test window might come up as a separate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Were you screen sharing? Okay, yeah. I think it's in the window now. Yep.
okay. So like when I click this button, this first animation works and it stops by itself. Then when I again press it, the second animation works and it stops. Now if I press the third, if I would have not added that part of repeat animation function, it would have just started it from the starting. But now like it would have stopped it first and then I have to press it again and then it would have started the running. But I have added a repeat animation function which says that from second frame it starts working. So when I like press it the third time, it just starts the first animation by itself only. So that's the purpose for.
And the one thing I'm new to for this process as well is the first example you walked us through, we were dealing with utilizing these codes for these actions based on an object. And here it looks like we're basing it off of an object and a particular frame, right?
Yes, it depends on like which type of function you involve. Like if I'm involved like in an animation, I involve 2 3 animations involved in that, and I just want like that first frame it should start, and in between 48th frame it should stop. Then we have to like perform actions in terms of frames also. Because in this example which I've opened now, the first example, I've just added one frame to it, and I've like not added many frames into it. So it just depends, like the number of frames you add, the number of actions you can also add to it.
Okay. And then for the actual ones based on a frame, like the simple animation file, do we just need to be, our playhead just needs to be on that particular frame when we add it?
Like for the actions part,
Yeah.
yeah, you can just just have to be in this frame, and then window and then actions.
Yeah, because in the actual code, it doesn't mention anything about like a frame number. It's just like the title of the action.
Yeah, when I open like this window from the actions window, it actually appears the like this under the scene one option, this actions and this frame number appears here.
Right. So the other exercise you went over, there's another one that says frame 48 or frame
Frame,
96.
yes.
So that just means your playhead has to be on that frame when you add the
On
action.
that frame, yes.
Okay. That
And
I
we have to just like the playhead has to be in the actions layer and that particular frame where we have to add the code. And there's one thing like when we open this window, our like the action which we are adding to our object, that object needs to be selected once. Because if the object is not selected, it won't allow us to add the function there.
so we always have to click on the frame on the keyframe on the actions layer to be adding an action there.
Yeah, like
Oh,
I clicked here. We can add from actions from here also.
okay. It seems smooth, but also it seems a little tricky because we haven't walked through it but yet. But everything's making sense to me as of right now. Because it's one nice thing that I've sorry to keep interjecting, but the one nice thing I think here is that and if you guys if we just ask real quick, have you coded before? If you guys just want to write like a yes or no in the chat so we have a better idea. Um, and then what I think is nice here is just being able to know that we have this actions panel that has presets. Um, that's pretty helpful because it's not so much as like, needing to be able to memorize everything or know exactly what the entire component of the code is doing, right? It's like stuff's right there for us. But then as you guys get into like more examples, I listed a few on the website. Um, those examples I think will be also detailing what parts you have to change. So cool.
Shall I move to like the publishing part of that?
Were you able to get it live then?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Um, well, let's see. Let's make because that was pretty quick. Let's see. Only Joe said he's coded a little bit. Everybody else doesn't know if they've coded. Okay. Not too helpful, but so um, yeah. Why don't we leave a few minutes here? Does anybody have questions, or they're confused about this? Because I think this is like the springboard kind of like platform we're going to be playing around with for this week's assignment. So this would be a good chance to, because Ishween's here, and she's the new guru of this content right now. So it's good to be asking questions if you're not getting, if you're not comprehending things here. What was I gonna ask?
Hi, Ishwin.
Hi.
I just kind of missed when I was able to get into the actions. I just kind of missed when you went into a further screen, to pick another section of code that was pre-written. How did you do that?
Okay, I'll just do it once again.
Yeah, it's a little tiny icon.
It's like when you open the actions part and you select the function, or sorry, the object. Then there's this part named as code snippets,
Yeah, it's like two little pointy brackets.
brackets. And when you open that code snippets part in under HTML5 canvas, there's this actions folder, and then there are different actions we can perform with this.
Cool. So I guess it seems like if we had multiple objects happening, right, or multiple movie clip instances or something, um, far more things than we have here. It's just a matter of having a keyframe on the actions layer, right? And again, actions layer is just a layer we called actions, right?
Yeah.
And once we're on there, we just click which object we want to be doing something with, and then we can apply our code to that. And we just keep clicking on objects and keep applying different code depending on what we want to do with that object, right?
Yes.
Cool.
It's like whenever the action needs to be changed in our animation, like from first part to second part, action is to be involved, then that layer has to have that keyframe option.
Okay. And let's see if I can ask one more question while we're here. Frame 48. So on this simple animation, the one that has some has like animation evolving over the timeline, we have on frame 48 the code to stop the animation from continuing, right? Kind of like the first click we go through.
Yes.
And then if we're stuck on frame 48, I would assume then on frame 48, if I were to then click on the click me button, when we see the action to then play, like play if clicked?
No, actually, that play action is already starting from the first to 48th frame only. Like at 48th frame, I'm stopping that action.
Yeah, so then how do we continue from 48 to 96?
So like it's at 48, just a second.
Yeah, because some things they seem, oh yeah, this is pretty smooth, I get it. But then as I go back and walk myself through the steps, I then get stuck on it could be a small component. I'm just curious how you built it out.
Yeah, like when I added the stop button, it's like it automatically gets stops at 48. But after it stops at 48, I just press my button again. So it's like it just performs the action one, like performing it one again.
Okay, so
So it's like the click me button has a function which is performing from 1 to 48 frame, and then when I press it again, it just starts from performing the function that prior to it, like the play button.
it almost seems as if it doesn't matter where on the timeline that instance of that movie clip is, right?
Can you repeat it?
Right. So you're saying on frame one, we added the like if clicked, we're gonna play, right?
Yes, yes.
Which it does, but then you stop it on frame 48. But then if you click it again on 48, we're playing again. But we never added a new instance of saying, oh hey, if we click on 48, play again, because it's still the same instance.
Yeah, because like we are just performing the same play function again only, and like we don't have to like if I perform the function like already inbuilt at 48th frame, it will perform it automatically. I just wanted like I should press the button and then the function should be performed.
Right. Yep. And that's just by default because from that point on, um, it's the same instance, right? But
Yes.
I guess we could always on frame 48 like or on frame 47 like end the first instance, and then when we say in the code like, oh, on frame 48 we're going to end, well, maybe we could have a new instance of a different button
Yes. I can do
there
that.
that when we click it does something different. So that's the one little tricky thing that was in my mind is like, oh well, on frame 48 we should be doing stuff, but when we scroll there, it's only saying stop. So I was kind of like,
Mm.
there's got to be more than just stop there. How does it know to continue? Because we already told it to
Yes.
with the play. Okay. Um, and then I guess just to reiterate, we also need a replay option at the end, right? Like once we go through
Mm.
something and one time, do need that
Yes.
the replay?
It automatically loops back to first frame. If I have not added any code at 96th frame, it would have automatically like if I've pressed again the click me button, it would have automatically started from the first frame.
Oh, even without
But
you putting in the action.
yeah, it's
Okay,
just like it automatically loops back to
gotcha.
and it loops back from the first frame only. So at first frame it was like it stopped there. When I have to press the button, it starts its first animation. So I want it after looping, it just starts from the second frame. I don't have to press the button, it just automatically starts the motion. So that is why I've added that repeat animation label to it.
Okay, and I don't. I think before when I was going through stuff, I was trying to focus on one thing. In the back of my mind, though, I'm still a little. I don't want to say concerned, but you mentioned at one point that you renamed something in the code, and I'm wondering, was that just maybe I don't know if maybe if you can bring that back open and just review that, or was that important to the code, or was that just for your sake of
No, that was just for my sake. I just
okay, so it was just like naming something, or
yeah.
I
So
can't
like when
remember.
we automatically by default this function name appears something else. So it's just for my convenience, like this hide me function is more convenient to me so that I can remember if more functions are added to it. So I've just changed this function's name here and I've edited that same function's name here.
Oh, I see. You're just changing the name of the function.
Name of
So
the function, yes. But we just need to be sure that the function name here and the function name here needs to be same with the same like capitals and smalls.
right. So if you're more savvy to coding and you want to have more control on how you're organizing it.
Organizing it. It's
Okay.
like for this function only we have just two functions here. But if we have multiple functions, it could be easy to like just add more of them.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Um, Anybody else have questions? I think we have some more. We could have some more time if. Um, okay. Yeah. I think we can continue if you wanted to go on to the next chunk.
Okay. So as I've said earlier, also like the main difference in HTML5 script is that it allows us for the published settings. The changes are in the published settings. So if we go to a file and then go to our published settings, here we can see that this is a different window which opens not just in HTML5 this canvas only. So it allows us to export in JavaScript and an HTML file. So one thing we need to make sure is that this loop timeline is on. And then the other thing we have to make sure is that when we are exporting it, export as function, we just have to write it as sprite sheet. it just imports our audio and video, like all the images, in just one folder only. You just need to make sure that this sprite sheet is on. When I publish it, it just takes time. And when
And we should walk through this, right? Publish.
this publish setting again,
What's that?
you just said something.
Oh, I was wondering, we should be walking through this then, right?
Yeah,
Yep. Okay, I was just making sure.
there's just like two things we need to make sure: that the loop timeline is on. It's by default on, but in some computers it might not be on.
And then this is
And
gonna
there's this
save.
sprite sheet.
This will save automatically to our folder then, or
Yes, the folder in which we are like making our assignment save.
cool.
When we press publish and then OK, and then we can see that there's some warnings come here. So like we can just see if there's an error here or not. So just add that folder. Wait, this not allows you to like screen share the folder part. I can just do that. Yeah, like this was my folder for the program, so it automatically imports this HTML5 dot animation.html and .js script. So these two files are automatically added when we hit the publish button. And there's this images folder also, which it automatically creates. Was everyone able to do that?
I did, and then I opened up the other template, and it looks like it already has an HTML and
Yeah, I just like added it for the demo purpose.
yep.
Okay, so once this publish setting is done, then we can minimize our that animate software, and I have added like an HTML. I have added a file which says that website template.html. We can just open it with our bracket software, as you might have downloaded it yesterday. And when you open it, you must have you must be seeing screen like this. So we can just do this option and just make it vertical split. It just makes it easy to like copy and paste the frame from one part to the other part.
And where did you click for that?
This part, screen splitting screen near the settings button.
Okay.
And then on one side, we just can open this website template. It's just that I just have designed a simple template for website. You guys, if you want to add this in your website section, you can just have this. You'll have just open this website coding here, the HTML file here, and then you can just drag your the HTML5 animation.html file, which we have just exported it right now. You can just drag and drop it here.
Which file are we doing?
The animate file which we have just exported, the .html file.
Okay.
So, like, as everybody can come to the screen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now it's just easy. Like I added my comments also. Like here, we just have to copy some part of the code from this section to this section. It just says that this file is automatically created by the Adobe Animate only. So you'll see this function right here. Write your code here. I have not added it here. It automatically adds it by itself only. So you just have to copy your code from here to below last line. It stays write your code here. So it's like from one write your code here to last write your code here. You just need to copy that and we need to paste it here in this section where it says that copy from head section. Once this is done, you can just see that under this body tag, I have added a message which says that add onload init function. So when we see this HTML5 script, it just says that body onload init. We just need to copy this part in the explanation. That's it. Just copy it, and we need to just space and paste it here.
Body.
From this part.
Yep.
Okay, then the last part is that I have add the code from the body section. So we just need to copy this DIY part in the last. We just need to copy this and add it here.
So the div container.
Different.
Okay. And the
This part needs to be added wherever we want our animation to be displayed on our website. Like I just wanted after this write-up it should be displayed, so I just added it.
Okay.
So once this is done, we can just save it and we can just open this file in our browser. So when you open this file in your browser, you must have like seen this part. Is everybody able to reach it here?
When I opened mine, it was the standard file. Because I need to open the template one.
Yeah, the website template part.
Yep. So just to, I guess, recap what you did, we can always just launch that file on our own browser locally, right? Like not on the web.
No, like it will not be displayed for public purposes, like not on website.
Right. So then the template you gave us then is to kind of prepare to be publishing this on somewhere online.
Somewhere online.
Yep. And Yeah, I guess depending on all your different platforms, right? Some platforms are just going to allow you to like inject code, whereas here you're kind of giving us the template in terms of like, a whole blank website template.
Mm, yeah, no, it's just like this two file lines are added to it, just the body section of like this hello and this two lines.
No, yeah, I guess what I'm referring to is like this template. I want to be able to just paste in where I host my website, because my website has a different platform. Like it's not for code. Um, it is for code. How do I want to frame this? Like I can't. I use Squarespace for mine, and Squarespace, at least from my understanding, I'm not able to just copy and paste an entire like HTML5, or I can't upload a whole folder of my website and host it.
Mm-hmm.
They give you templates to lay out the website, and then they offer a few places you can inject custom code into, like into a body section somewhere or something like that.
Yeah, so like there are some software which allows you to like make your website just not by coding only, just by making the through template only. So
Mm-hmm.
it's at the back end there is some type of coding involved to that also. It's just that we don't have to do it. The software does it by itself.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
this animation just involves like if I am making my own website and this I have to add some sort of animation to it because the softwares which are already giving us templates are already some sort of like designed in such a way
Mm-hmm.
and it gives us some different platforms and different types of editing and something like that.
Yeah. Cool. Um, did anybody have questions on they can't get this going or?
And we can even check it like if it's working or not, just to make sure.
So if we were to then make a change from right now in our animation file, we'd have to go back through more or less that same process of copying and pasting those three things over.
We just need to check that like if you were adding the animation function some code part to it, so we can just compare both our files. Like if there's like the main part is like the code section which I've copied, that code section has needs to be the same as your animate file.
Mm-hmm. Right.
If there's any questions till now, you can ask.
Everybody's just chilling.
Okay, so I guess we can continue with the publishing part, the last step to it.
Cool.
Everybody must have signed up for the Netlify account. And if you guys can open it in your web browser and log into your account to that. I guess I just skipped one part which says that uh, under the folder which we were making our Adobe Animate folder files, we just need to add our websites files also in that folder only. So we need to make sure that like the website template part here, It's in the same folder as the Animate HTML and JS script files. Everything needs to be in just one folder. That's need to be made sure. So once that's done, then if we open our Netlify account, we can just see that there's a sites option here, and there's like we can just drag and drop our folder here. So if we just take our folder which says the template 2, I guess everybody has their files in that folder only. So we can just drag the template 2 folder and drop it here. That's it. It automatically publishes your file. And it says that like it's published right now, and it gives you a like the URL for your website also. You can just click it and just see it like your website is uploaded. You can just share this with your friends and everything, and this like this website goes published like publicly.
Right. Cool.
It's just like if this is free of cost, but if we want like our own URL here, so under the deploy section, you can just go to deploy settings. Just a minute. Yeah, under the deploys option, we can go to deploy settings and under that domain management. And when we go to under domain management, it says that add your custom domain. Like if I add my custom domain, we can just check it. Like if I check this one, it says that it's available, but its registration cost is this. But like for future purposes, if you want your website to be uploaded and stuff like that, you can do that. You can do it either by this also, and I have like provided a link in the HTML folder on our Google Drive also, which is a video link which shows us step by step how to like host a website in different software, and it's just great. Like if I want my custom domain, the people who want to like just add their custom domain, they can follow that video and just it's a very good video. It just explain it's very step by step.
Sweet. Yeah. That the process of uploading seems really simplistic.
Yeah, it's just like in seconds your site goes for public.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like this has to link to that also.
Cool.
Yes, that's it from my part. Any questions or something like that? And if somebody encounters any question, they can just email me also.
Sweet. Yeah, that was pretty smooth. Like after we had the file, getting everything just right online. Like it's a really seamless process, I think. Yeah, great. Thank you for all of your insight and your giving us knowledge.
I just really like the part like for this HTML5 canvas. It's just so easy to just copy and paste the code snippets, and even the software itself provides us a method, like it just gives us directions. Like it gives us a message like write your code here part. We just have to copy and paste those sections. That's it. It's not of much of coding also involved, and we can just build up the website also.
And did you say you have a link? Was it a link somewhere in your PowerPoint that showed how to translate like one of our pre-existing files?
Yeah, that's not in presentation. That's the like the file I have added, the Google Doc I have added in that folder.
Oh, okay, that's what I remember seeing something and I couldn't remember where it was. Links for future references. Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. And I could probably just throw these on the website as well, so it's a little quicker. Right.
And do you want me to add like the presentation also to that folder? Because both of the links I've provided in this also.
Wait, what was your question?
Like, should I add the PowerPoint presentation also to this folder, or
Oh,
is there no need for that? Because the links are already in this document.
yeah, why don't you? Just so that,
Yeah, sure.
because I think there might be a few people missing class, and then, depending on what they have going on, this way they can try and recap, and then if I have to meet them separately, I could also kind of walk through, give them a recap of what you talked about. Sweet.
Yeah, I just added that also.
I do have one question, I guess, because we have a bunch of time still. Did you have any sort of kind of listing of different references and any kind of artists or collectives that you've been following, and that's a little bit of that kind of like inspirational stuff I was thinking you might be covering at the beginning, to give us like an insight, in your journey here.
So like, there's not any particular artist which I've been following, but this YouTube channels only which I've been like going through for my tutorials and everything. I can just go through like my portfolio section, and like that's the basically main idea for me to like hold my website in future.
Okay, I gotcha. Yeah, no, I was just curious, just because we have time still, and I was like, oh well, yeah, because there are, yeah. So why don't you give us maybe just a little recap, whatever you want to, whatever's in your mind in terms of like, oh, these would be cool things to share, what you've got going on, or inspiration stuff.
Okay. So like while holding this like the portfolio only, the main problem was that it just allows me to just upload my GIF straight away. But for other files, it's just I have to like, for example, if this is my project, it just allows me to add a link to it, and I've added that link, and it opens in the Google Drive of my section. You just need to download it. So I'm just working on that. Like if I embed it in my website through the HTML coding part, then I might just add this on my website, which does not allows us to like go through a link and then check my website and stuff like that. And like I found this way to be like easily available for everyone to host their websites. And the link which I have provided for the like proper way to buy and host your personal website, I just personally like that channel so much that it just it makes YouTube videos in such a way that it involves the step-by-step process, slowly and steadily. Like I can't miss a single step from that to host my website or to perform any function. because that channel is like the perfect channel for visiting and studying the stuff.
Cool. Yep. Yeah, and if I'm just gonna start kind of um, going over some other things to kind of kind of like presenting what I'm hoping we could do for a project this week, and um, content to kind of supplement what Ishween has went over. And yeah, before class, if you're thinking about some questions, if you're not really sure exactly what you wanted to ask, just kind of be thinking of them, and we could have some more time for questions at the end. Okay, I'm just gonna start sharing screen here and go to the website. So I did add an assignment for this week. The only, and it's not very detailed as of right now, because this is somewhat new to my way of things. So I'm going to kind of cover that, but I guess the general sense of kind of going forward from today is to make sure you're coming up with a concept and then sketching rough ideas out for a layout for yourself, and then you could use that as a template for moving forward on executing it. But then also what you're going to want to do is I've given some links on the project page, and you'll want to go over those links, but then if those don't seem like adequate enough to kind of what you're wanting to do, then you'll just have to do a little bit more research, because the one thing here is we're not all custom programmers for web, so it'll be pertinent to find examples to help you inject the correct bits of code. So I don't think I'm not expecting anything golden here, but at the same time, you should be able to have enough time put into this. What was I trying to say to myself a minute ago? The one, I think, isn't it though, like the one expectation for classes is like however much time you have in class, you're supposed to give like double that out of class or something crazy. So if we have like 4 hours, that doesn't sound right. At least 4 hours of out of class time to be working on stuff for an assignment. That seems kind of high, right? Because a lot of us are able to do stuff pretty quickly. But that just gives you kind of insight, because I know I wanted to reiterate on that, because a lot of us now shifting to home and not having the the daily structure of getting up, like, why shower today, so it could be challenging, I think, to find structure and to maintain what you're doing. So it's good that all of us are here, who are here, kind of trying to get through the semester, finishing what we've started. So that's one thing to consider, is while you're working on these projects, just to maintain like your own learning, kind of be thinking at that point of like, oh, well, yeah, I should be spending, X amount of time outside of class. And during the week, like a normal week, you don't really think about it. You just, you put in what you need to put in. But it can be challenging. So if you set out like a bar and you have to, reach that bar, that could be helpful. So I just wanted to cover what we have going on here. This is just a link to her Google Drive content we already downloaded. And then I have some additional tutorials here, and I'll talk about these in a second. And I literally just searched YouTube last night, like 2 different searches, and these were the primary ones that came up. So number one, I picked them because they had a lot of views. They're more recent, relevant, and I feel like these are pretty much what you need for, constructing something. But depending on what you need, there could be other examples. You could be searching for, those like kind of like flash based games you see in like some random website. Like for instance, everybody's seen the little crosshair where you have to point and like shoot something, right? And it's just a little ad and a interactive animation on the side. Those types of kind of banner related ads, those could be something to research in terms of like, somebody just making one in Animate, because those kinds of people are doing this for a living, right? Like they make their living off of designing this kind of content. So if they're using Animate, it's going to be the same premise of what we are working with here. However, they'll probably have a couple other tricks and suggestions as they go along. So you could, you can scrub through a couple different video contents like that and see like what they're doing, and then kind of watch how they implement it. And if it makes sense and you want to try it, that's what this week is kind of about, is exploring kind of like everything we've already learned about Animate, but now shifting that to add these elements of interactivity. So in terms of this shifting, I do have here in the requirements like importing content to your library. I don't know if I directly said this in class before. It's hard to think back like 9 weeks ago at this point, but this link here is right on their Adobe website. It just covers how to import a library from a different file. So we've all done our own Animate projects already. If you wanted to say import your walking sequence and use that as kind of one of like a scene, totally just do that, right? So you can import your content from one file into this new HTML5 canvas. And then as you're working on things, you can drag and drop content from your library and then just add an instance name, and you're good to go. So in that regard, it was kind of challenging for me to try to think of what type of project you guys will do, and I don't think it's overly important exactly what you come out of this, because I don't foresee anybody using whatever you make as a portfolio piece. This is more of like a first run kind of experimentation, seeing how things are working out, kind of getting a sense of how web use is integrated. So I don't think the actual content itself needs to be super polished, but I do want you guys to be focusing on being critical on how you do implement these different actions into the code. And then I guess the one thing I didn't mention on the website here is that I'm hoping you guys will submit your file to the Google Drive, but then also how do I want you to give me the link? I also want you to host it and then send me that link. I'm just trying to think what's the easiest way. If you guys just want to make like a text file, using like is it Word Edit? It's Text Edit. Just using like Text Edit on a Mac or a text file. What do you mean with names, Ishween?
There's a Google Doc and there everybody can provide their links alongside with their names. Like, this person has this code.
Oh, yeah, that would be, that's actually a smoother way. Yeah. I'll write that down. Um,
In that way, all the links can be in just one Google Doc.
yeah, that's totally smoother. Yeah. Um, yeah. I feel like I am bouncing back and forth on my ramble here. So the only sort of requirements that I was kind of coming up with are um, trying to utilize audio, and that, you know, again, that could be stuff you've already made, you've already used. You could import it in and reharvest that, um, but then get that triggered by some kind of interaction. Um, and in terms of interaction, I'm wanting you guys to shoot for at least two different types of interactions. Um, oh, and I should have said types instead of instances here. So in reality, I want you guys to try to implement a couple different ways. So, obviously we're going to have like a mouse click probably, or mouse tracking, right? Like moving a mouse around, keyboard presses. So some of that kind of thing, it'll be based on what you guys find. There are a couple here that I have though. Clicking content to play. This is similar to Ishween's example she walked us through. So you can kind of see how that may or may not differ. But then I do have an example for triggering audio, so you could follow that and then, follow that example, get something working, and then start experimenting in ways you could alter that process. But then this rotate content one, I think might be another one you guys could look at.
Many of the document types in
And I'll just
Animate
mute
support
this.
interactive.
And I'm just going to scrub in here somewhere at the end. So it's just allowing you to, and actually this file here of this ladybug, I think it is a movie clip that already has an animation. So they're taking something that's already animated, like this little bug that's jittering or moving its antenna or whatever. And while it's doing that, we're also rotating it based on just following the mouse. And obviously the code gets a little trickier than just a click, but depending on what kind of concept you want to be playing around with, I think that's totally plausible. So some other thoughts I was thinking too on this assignment are, what if you kind of followed Ishween's kind of mindset on, oh, well, why don't we just host our animations on a website, right? So you could take that premise that she walked us through. Do I have this here? Right, and she kind of shows some kind of headings right here, and then it has our animations below it. Well, maybe we can embed buttons on the sides of our canvas, and you could go from like one scene to the next, and maybe go through your projects, and you're just utilizing some projects that have audio, and you're going from one project, you have some kind of animation in there, and then maybe you click an arrow and it goes to the next project and it shows that. So I think this is an opportunity for you guys to be, again, I definitely like to have this opportunity for all my classes later in the semester. But definitely, since you guys this is like a 400 level, not trying to strip down like any direction for you guys, but trying to offer, the ability for you guys to work on what you feel is pertinent to your interest. So I left it pretty open. And that's what I said down here is like this potential of you, because we did cover real briefly how to add a scene, right? And so a scene just plays right after the first, each subsequent scene plays after the first scene. So in reality, it can function the same way as just a playhead. When you get to a certain spot, you stop, right? So we could be building up these kind of scenes that are navigatable. Especially if you've taken an intro class and coding like my 121 class, or if you took somebody else's 121 that had some kind of structure with coding and kind of interactivity. That's kind of where this should be leading into, is like taking some previous knowledge that you guys have done, and then exploring some of the features that we have available. And I know it's a different coding interface, and that's why I'm not setting like super harsh requirements. This is just a one class kind of exercise. But yeah, I'm definitely hoping you guys put in enough time. I guess where you can, if you're really concerned, or if you just want to like double check, like, oh, have I done enough work? You guys probably have an idea of like how I grade. So if that's your concern, or if you're just like, oh, did I do enough? You could always just see the different categories that I grade your guys' projects with, and it's just like upholding different things, like labeling things and diversifying what kind of are you integrating these tweens, are you using a camera effect, these are all things that we've covered, and this is kind of like a preemptive final project mindset of kind of taking things we've learned and reiterating on them. So that is my ramble. I know you guys are all looking forward to my ramble today. I think that is all I have for you guys. I was gonna go over the projects. I'll do that next class, because next class I figure will just be like time that hopefully Ishween will be here, and if anybody has questions as we go along, she could help chime in if anybody gets stuck on something. But I'll review the projects we did this past week, or you guys did, and kind of take up a few minutes and kind of just gather as a class for that, and then you guys just have time to work and have some questions. So should be a pretty lax week, and then next week we're gonna be starting into kind of more kind of like final project related content, kind of summarizing what we've done over the semester and building that into something. So this will be like the last good play around week. Does anybody have questions? I'm hoping we have several questions. Fair. That's fair. So definitely don't come to class, like next class, without having done any prep. Definitely make sure you are getting through proposing what you're going to do, and then get some sketches and check out these different videos, and start exploring some other YouTube content videos. I know all of you are just sitting at home a lot more and binge watching videos anyway. So just dedicate some more time to shifting to having a pen and paper and checking out some videos on the topic here. You worry about the word retail. What's retail? Oh, sorry, retain. Retail. Retain. This is what happens when I ramble, Shit just explodes. I'll go ahead and change this now. Well, yeah, if nobody has particular questions, I guess we can end class a couple minutes early. This way, I'm going to actually go for a walk around the block just to clear my head and prep for my next class. It's always good to get outside, even though it looks like it might be drizzling here in Rochester. But yeah, if nobody has questions, just make sure you get through getting some sketches done, having your kind of concept laid out of what you want to do. And again, I'm always available for some office hour time. So if you guys want more clarity, I guess you should ask now. But or if you want to walk through something, you could always call me during office hours. Anyway, otherwise, thanks again, Ishween, for giving us some knowledge here, and we'll see you guys Wednesday.